Hello again, all you high achievers out there. I am here today to share with you another tip about burnout. And today we're going to focus on what are the symptoms in which burnout affects you cognitively in terms of your mind, right? So if you've seen my previous couple of videos, you've seen how burnout affects you emotionally and physically. And today we're going to talk more about the cognitive aspect. And once again, I've created an acronym and an easy way for you to really remember some of the ways in which burnout can affect you in this way. But before we get started, if you don't already know me, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Sharon Grossman. I am a burnout expert and a coach, and I really wanted to make this available to everybody so that they have an opportunity, including you, to really assess correctly what's going on with them. Let's get right to it. The acronym that I came up with is FAIL, F-A-I-L, and the first way in which burnout can affect you cognitively is that it creates forgetfulness. So sometimes we might notice that we're really stressed out, there's so much going on, and we just can't keep it together. We just don't do. And so you might wonder, is something wrong with me? Why can't I remember this thing? Am I just getting old? Well, certainly we don't want to jump to any conclusions, but you want to look at what else is going on. So forgetfulness is something that can happen when your mind is just overloaded, when you are in that state of burnout, because that stress is so chronic. So that could be a sign. So pay attention to that. The next thing you want to pay attention to is your attitude. So does your attitude become really negative, where you're only looking at everything that's going wrong, everything that's happening around you that makes you feel less than other people? Are you comparing yourself to other people? Are you worried about everything that could go wrong? So if you're having a very negative attitude, and that's typically not you, it could be that the situation's really just getting to you and that you need to figure out a way to get yourself out of that mindset. All right? So we're not going to talk today about how to change your mindset, but it's just an indication that this is something that you need to focus on to get yourself out of this current state. All right? The next thing you really want to look at is your concentration. So if your concentration is impaired, right, and that's the I in fail, then you might notice that it's harder for you to get tasks done because you can't focus on them. When you can't focus on those tasks, they take longer, it becomes more stressful as your deadlines are approaching, and you start to feel like there's something wrong with you because you're like, I know that I could do this. I know that I used to be able to do this. What's happening? Why can't I remember things? Why can't I feel more positive about where I am? And why is it so hard for me to focus on my work? Well, it could be that because you're in such a state of overwhelm, because it feels like the situation is beyond anything that you can handle. It's just overly stressful. It feels like it's too much. And oftentimes people become burned out because the job has a lot of demands on you. And when that happens, in congruence with not having enough control over the decisions that you make and how you approach your work, if the demands just keep piling on and you start to lose your confidence in your ability to do your work, it can really lead to burnout. And as a result, you start to notice that you're not accomplishing as much, and that actually creates even more symptoms, right? Because then you start to doubt yourself, and that feeds into that whole cycle. So really start to notice what's happening with your cognitive abilities. If they're starting to diminish in some ways, that could be a sign. The last thing you want to pay attention to is whether you are losing your motivation. So a loss of motivation is an indication that something is happening in your attitude, in the way that you're looking at the situation. It starts to feel like you have to drag yourself to work. You just don't feel passionate about what you're doing anymore. And that's certainly a sign of burnout. It really is so important for us to feel like our job is meaningful because we spend so much of our lives at work, right? I mean, think about it. If at minimum you're spending 40 hours a week at work, what else are you doing for that much time? Not very many things. right? And it's a big sacrifice of your time if that's what you're doing, and then not reaping the benefits of it. If you're feeling not only that you're spending all this time and energy doing this, but then having really nothing to show for it, right? So if you feel like you are failing, right? If there's a sense like your cognition is failing you, like you're not able to really focus in the way that you're used to, if you're feeling really negative, these are all signs that you could be potentially burning out. So if this is something that you're wondering about, let me share with you, I have a 40-page workbook that I've created for just this purpose, where you want to just really work this out and figure out what is going on with me. Now, in the workbook, it's actually not just about cognitive symptoms of burnout, but also we're looking at the emotional again, and the physical symptoms, because burnout can really affect you in a number of different ways. And it helps you to kind of get a sense of what's going on for you, really script it out, and it really guides you through it. So if you're interested in that, check out coachingbysharon.com, where you can download your free copy. All right, and it'll be a great first thing for you to get started. So coachingbysharon.com, get your free 40-page burnout solution workbook, and I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.